I said you either love him or you hate him. Now, do you find that that's true, or does everybody love you, or does everybody hate you?
No, most people love me, and a few really have great distaste for me, David.
And why is it that those people, that few, would not care for you? Because you're so successful?
I can't imagine. No, I don't think so. It's just I sort of speak my mind a little bit like you in that respect.
Yeah.
A little bit like
a little bit like me.
Not too much, hopefully.
How much are you worth right now as you're sitting right here?
Zero idea, David. It depends on what's happening with the world and the market. But the $1 million for each person in the audience sounds like it could be an intriguing idea.
Yeah.
Why do you keep calling this the Chinese virus? There are reports of dozens of incidents of bias against Chinese Americans in this country. Your own aide, Secretary Azar, says he does not use this term. He says ethnicity does not cause the virus. Why do you keep using this?
Because it comes from China.
Racist.
It's not racist at all, no, not at all. It comes from China, that's why.
Why is this a global competition to you if everyday Americans are still losing their lives?
Well, they're losing their lives everywhere in the world, and maybe that's a question you should ask China. Don't ask me, ask China that question, okay?
Sir, why are you saying that to me specifically?
I'm telling you, I'm not saying it specifically to anybody. I'm saying it to anybody that would ask a nasty question like that.
Director of the FBI tonight, for the first time, acknowledging COVID-19 likely came from a lab leak in China.
Major news today. The FBI has come out publicly to say COVID-19 most likely leaked from a Wuhan lab. FBI Director Christopher Wray also spoke about the Chinese government blocking any investigation into the origins of the pandemic.
Why do you think people voted for Trump? Because everything is going great in their lives? Trump didn't take us to Iraq. Trump didn't pass NAFTA. Trump didn't bail out the banks and screw the homeowners. If people actually knew what Bill Clinton and Barack Obama actually did, they would be screaming bloody murder. The Democratic Party completely turned their back on workers. They got in bed with Wall Street and Silicon Valley. This is the result. In order to get better, we have to come to terms with this. We have to come to terms with what's wrong. People are hurting. Half the country's poor, you assholes. When both parties turn their back on the workers, they're
In 2016, Trump drew thousands to rallies all across the country. Last week was pretty extraordinary, though. He brought in an estimated 50,000 supporters to a tiny town in South Carolina, Pickens, where the population is just over 3,000 people. He drew a crowd 20 times that number. This was a striking contrast to who is thought to be his biggest political rival at the moment, Governor Ron DeSantis, who held an event in that same state last week. DeSantis only bringing in enough enthusiasm to fill a local activity center in North Augusta in South Carolina. Despite his legal woes, Trump is heading the Republican race somewhat effortlessly, and the money doesn't lie. CNN reports that the former president has nearly doubled his $18.8 million from the beginning of 2023. His campaign earned $35 million in donations in the most recent quarter. And it's not a matter of too much competition, as some have proposed, as in, what if the field narrows? Well, even in a narrow two-candidate field, NBC says Trump beats DeSantis 60-36.
Would you stop the money to Ukraine at this point?
I'd get the war settled. The money is, number one, I tell Europe, you're about $100 billion plus short, okay? You got to pay. Because Europe is smiling all the way to the bank. We're giving all of Europe is doing very little compared to the United States, and it affects them more. Look, no matter how you look at it, they're right there. We're an ocean apart. Why are we at 150 billion and they're at 20? They have to, and you know, their economy's almost exactly our size if you add it all up. You add up the countries of Europe, and we have a very similar economy they have a very similar to the United States. They should be at the same number that we're at, if not more. And they get away with murder. And they did with NATO, too. You know what I did with NATO? They weren't paying, and I made them pay.
Right.
And took in hundreds of billions of dollars. I said, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you.
Would you be...
This video is to every single black person out there. If you really want to fuck over this government that has fucked over your ancestors, if you really want to fuck over this government that helped kill Martin Luther King Jr., if you really want to help fuck over this government that killed Malcolm X, that killed Huey and that destroyed the Black Panther Party. If you really want to fuck over this government, I'm asking you to do me a favor. Go vote for Donald Trump. Can't you see how these fucking devils are running around here scared to fucking death of this man? Because they don't want they fucking evil, sick asses locked up. So black people, if you really want to piss these fucking racist, demon, fucking devils off, vote for Donald Trump. Fuck they shit up. Because they've been fucking it up for us for the longest, and it's been them. Vote for Donald Trump.
And they've all of the media is getting it wrong.
He's not the person that the media has depicted him to be.
I've never met nobody like this guy. And he gets attacked quite a bit. He says what he feels. We mistake that for racism.
God made this man president. The most pro-black president that we've had in our lifetime.
What do you say to Americans who are concerned by that?
It makes me sad. I got criminal justice reform done and prison reform and opportunity zones.
President Trump has signed a bipartisan bill that permanently funds HBCUs.
President Trump today signed a sweeping criminal justice overhaul. It is all about second chances.
President Trump is going to sign an executive order today on opportunity zones.
Our goal is to rebuild homes, schools, businesses, and communities that need it the most.
Mr. President, we thank you. This is the greatest team to make a generational impact.
And that's what changed for me. Is I then when Donald Trump was elected and then proceeded to do the things that he had promised, ironically. Right? Because, I mean, that's funny that, like, Donald Trump would be the first presidential candidate to actually deliver. Hate him or love him, he's doing the things that he said he was going to do.
Hey, America.
And we have a corrupt, compromised president, crooked Joe Biden, who is dragging us into World War III. And that's what's happening on behalf of a nation that paid his family millions and millions of dollars in obvious bribes. All you have to do is take a look at how much China, how much Ukraine have paid the Biden family. It's a total disgrace and a very dangerous one. Under these circumstances, the notion that we would even consider admitting Ukraine into NATO at this time is completely unhinged. Joe Biden can't even walk up a flight of stairs on Air Force One, and he can't put two sentences together. The last thing that this incompetent administration should be doing is risking war with a nuclear-armed Russia or China or other countries. We have somebody that doesn't have a clue representing us. If people think that Trump is going to be elected, you'll never have a recession. If people think I'm not, you will have more than recession. You're going to have a depression. But what I will do is we're going to start using our liquid gold. We have more energy under our feet, oil and gas, than any other country in the world. You know, I approved ANWR. It's bigger than Saudi Arabia, they say. Everything requires energy, and it's a very big cost. And that's what caused inflation. Now everything's causing inflation. Now we have bad supply lines. Maria, our country's a mess. We'll close up the border. We'll become energy independent. Then we're going to be energy dominant. We'll be taking care of Europe. Energy prices are going to come way down. I will get Putin to make a deal with Zelensky very quickly. We're going to have a great world again. But I'll tell you what, if we don't win in 24, this country is finished. I really believe that this country is finished.
I'm a very hardcore Trump supporter. But I know he made me stop and think a minute, because my love for President Trump comes from all the despair, all the things that he's been through, has served as our President of the United States, and he did a good job. But all the things, I'm thinking more with my heart and my sorrow and my love for him and for this country. But now this is the most important vote that we're going to have. And I have to think more with my mind and what's best for this country. And you did an excellent job, and I certainly appreciate it.
God bless you. Thank you. You know, I agree with you. I appreciate what President Trump did. How they treated him with things like Russia collusion was a disgrace. And he was treated wrong. He was treated in ways that were unconstitutional.
It's one of my favorite Trump speeches ever.
What would you do? What can you do? So easy. I drop a 25% tax on China. And you know, I said to somebody that is really the messenger. The messenger is important. I could have one man say, we're going to tax you 25%. And I could say another, listen, you motherfuckers, we're going to tax you 25%.
I'm telling you, man. Look, I'm not in favor of the wall. I'm pro-immigration. I'm not in favor of these ICE busts and all that jazz, but shit like that wins me over.
Is that Donald Trump is the person in our party who can step in day one and get the job done for our country. He can step into these foreign policy issues that Joe Biden has created, frankly. You want to talk about Iran, you want to talk about China, the war in Ukraine, what happened in Afghanistan, etc. Donald Trump can step in day one and actually help to ameliorate these issues because he already did the job once. And I think everybody can acknowledge the country was a much safer place when he was president of the United States, and so was the world.
Pennsylvania. I'm thrilled to be back in this incredible Commonwealth with the thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots that I have gotten to know so well. 2 months from now, the people of Pennsylvania are going to fire the radical left Democrats, and you are going to elect Doug Mastriano as your next.
Some people, the ultimate goal in life has been becoming the President of the United States. Would you like to be the President of the United States?
I really don't believe I would run it, but I would like to see somebody as the President who could do the job, and there are very capable people in this country.
Most people who are capable are not running for office. Most men are frightened of politics today.
It is a shame, isn't it?
Yes.
It is a shame. The most capable people are not necessarily running for political office, and that is a very sad commentary on the country. They had major corporations and they had this and that, but they are not running for political office.
Why wouldn't someone like yourself run for political office? You have all the money that you possibly need. You've accomplished a great deal, even though you are only 34. I know there's a lot of things that you possibly can do in the years ahead. Why wouldn't you dedicate yourself to public service?
Because I think it's a very mean life. I would love and I would dedicate my life to this country, but I see it as being a mean life, and I also see it as somebody with strong views and somebody with the kind of views that are maybe a little bit unpopular, which may be right, but may be unpopular, wouldn't necessarily have a chance of getting elected against somebody with no great brain but a big smile. And that's a sad commentary for the political process.
Television, in a strange way, has ruined that process, hasn't it?
It's hurt the process very much. I mean, the Abraham Lincolns of the world. Abraham Lincoln would probably not be electable today because of television. He was not a handsome man, and he did not smile at all.
You knew Donald Trump way back in his New York real estate days.
What a charmer.
Even you say he's a great salesman. What is his sales technique? Why is he so great?
He is a phenomenal salesman. He's not a great salesman. He's probably the best salesman I've ever been in the company of. I did a lot of work with Donald, and I can tell you he is the best salesman I've ever met in my life. For example, selling the Plaza Hotel to the Chinese out of Hong Kong, wealthiest families in Hong Kong, and they were there because they were interested in the Plaza Hotel. And I watched him totally not pitch the Plaza Hotel, bury it, and talk about the land masses on the Hudson River and the buildings that would be there. They were not the least bit interested. They just wanted to buy the Plaza Hotel. I thought he was so off. He wasn't. They bought the land and built all those towers on the West River as we know it today. You know, all those Trump towers along the river. That was the deal.
You're the worst president America has ever had.
Hey,
Come
Joe,
on.
let me just tell you, Joe, I've done more in 47 months. I've done more than you've done in 47 years, Joe. We've done things that you never even thought of doing, including fixing the broken military. Why aren't these countries, these wealthy money machines, paying us for the defense of their freedom and their nations? The concept of America financing and paying and losing lives for countries that won't even allow us to use their ships. And these are the countries that in 24 hours they'd be wiped off the face of the earth if it weren't for America. It's ridiculous. We don't give anything to our farmers. The homeless are all over the streets of the major cities, the sick and the problems, and yet we'll give billions of dollars in defending countries that have 5 times more money than we can ever hope to have. This country shouldn't be raising taxes. We ought to be lowering taxes. If you look at the payments that we're making to NATO, they're totally disproportionate with everybody else's, and it's ridiculous. This country is busted. And it's busted because we're doing things that we shouldn't be doing. If we had business ability in this country, we'd be making lots of profit, so-called surplus. That money could be going to defend our homeless and our poor and our sick and our farmers. And that's where we ought to be spending the money, not giving it to countries that don't give a damn for us to stop.
Are you racist? I just want to ask you.
I am not. I don't have a racist bone in my body. Today we are here to honor the extraordinary contributions of African Americans to every aspect of American life, history, and culture.
You should have left Trump where he was. America was much better when Trump was in office. Biden came in at the right time because people didn't like who was in charge. They didn't like what he was saying. But the economy was flowing. We had jobs. Pull up at the gas pump right now.
What you all know, but most people don't know, unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse.
Maybe January 6th, while appalling on one level, maybe it was not an insurrection.
I'll be very honest with you. You want to know what caused January 6th? There's such a temptation to say that there's one man whose name is unspeakable. We can't.
No, first of all, it's QAnon. It's QAnon.
It's QAnon. You want to know what caused January 6th? Is pervasive censorship in this country in the lead up to January 6th. You tell people in this country they cannot speak, that is when they scream. You tell people they cannot scream, that is when they tear things down. And so the reality is, we were told that you could not question where the virus came from when we all knew it came from a lab in Wuhan, which now they admit. We were told that you could not send a private message to someone on the eve of an election, that Hunter Biden's laptop story was actually a true story worth considering before an election. You were systematically suppressed. So think about this. You told you had to be locked down, had to take a vaccine that was mandated and forced down your throat, stay locked down in your home while Antifa and BLM roam and burn the streets of this country. So that's the lead up of 1 full year of telling people you have to shut up, sit down, and do as you're told. And then you tell them, okay, there's an election where you didn't get the information that you needed, such as the Hunter Biden laptop story being real and suppressed. That's what caused January 6th, is a cycle of censorship in this country. And until we look ourselves in the mirror and admit truth on that, we will not move forward as a country.
We're fed up with the Green New Deal and the socialists who created it. We're fed up with the attacks on our fossil fuel and energy industries. We're fed up with an open border. We're fed up with human trafficking. We're fed up with fentanyl flooding our country. And we're fed up with illegal immigration. We're fed up with critical race theory. We're fed up with boys competing in girls' sports. We're fed up with We're fed up with the liberal media, Twitter, Facebook, Google, and YouTube for blocking conservative speech. We're fed up with our government and universities censoring conservative thought, canceling debate, and rewriting history. We're fed up with the corruption in the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, the CIA, the NSA, and the poison court. We're fed up with mask mandates, vaccine mandates, the CDC, the NIH, the WHO, and the misinformation campaign surrounding COVID-19. And we're fed up with Anthony Fauci. We're fed up with the politicians and the elitists in D.C. who